Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are continuing the NHL Draft 2021 prospect profiles. As today we're taking a look at Aatu Raty. We'll be taking a look at him in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. And let's take a look at Finnish forward Aatu Raty. So, like I mentioned, this is a guy that a lot of people are talking about. Aatu Raty. What happened to his draft stock? He was projected to be the first overall pick as soon as going into last year's draft. I mean, last year we were talking about Aatu Raty being the #1 overall pick. And that has since changed pretty dramatically for the Finnish forward. Now, a lot of people are comparing him a lot to a guy like Kaapo Kakko. Finnish forward, drafted 2nd overall by the New York Rangers back in 2019. We could see something like that here with a guy like Aatu Raty. Again, you keep saying the name over and over again. It's got to stick eventually. Now, his draft has dropped pretty significantly. He's gone from a #1 overall pick to 11, 15, 20, 9. He's been all over the board. But what we've heard in the most recent mock draft, according to a Tankathon, they have him listed as going at number 11. And we'll be looking at, so mock draft 12th overall. Okay, whatever. So this season, all right, we're going to take a look at his stats. He has 7 points in 8 games with Karpat of the under-20 team, which is in the SM Liga. Same league we saw where Kaapo Kakko came from TPS Turku. So we've seen a lot of guys come from Karpat, TPS Turku, and been pretty solid NHL players from the Finnish leagues. But this is a little bit of a different situation for Aatu Raty. He really hasn't played that well in the SM League. He's done well in the under-20, but when he's been playing against men in the European leagues, he's struggled a little bit more. So this season, he only has 6 points in 35 games with the SM Liga's Karpat, which isn't gonna get you, really where you want to be. And I think the only reason he's in the top 15 still is because of the hype around him from last season. He really has not, performed the way that people were hoping he would. I mean, last season, you look at what he did in the Karpat under-20. He played really well. I mean, he put up 21 points in 30 games, and in Karpat, he put up 4 points in 12 games, which is still good for your first season in the SM Liga. But now in year 2, he really hasn't developed that much more, and people are starting to wonder if that draft stock could lead him potentially into the late first round, even second round. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, they have him going at number 11 or number 12 to the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the Vancouver Canucks, this is no surprise. We've seen the Vancouver Canucks do this really in the last couple of drafts. They've picked Elias Pettersson, who was a later first-round pick, kind of jumped up the draft board, but we've seen obviously what PD has become for the Canucks. But more of a similar comparison is a guy in Vasily Podkolzin, who was projected to be potentially the first overall pick, maybe even a top 3 selection in the 2018 NHL draft, right? I think it was 2018. And Vasily Podkolzin had fallen all the way to 9 or 11 to the Vancouver Canucks. Does that sound familiar here with Aatu Raty, a former top 3 overall pick, falling down later into the mid-teen draft picks and getting selected by Vancouver? We could see that here with Aatu Raty. Now, Vancouver doesn't necessarily need more wingers. They may have to look that direction if they have to trade, say, a Brock Besser. I know Vancouver Canuck fans don't want to hear that, but if they need to bring in some younger forwards, I mean, let's just be honest. If you have Podkolzin, Höglander, and a guy here like Aatu Raty, that definitely solidifies your center core and your forward core in general. I think that would be really good for the Vancouver Canucks. And their defense seems to be pretty solid. Maybe they select a defenseman like Carson Lambos if he's still on the board. But Aatu Raty definitely has to be an intriguing option to general manager Jim Benning. But like I said, Aatu Raty was a guy that has fallen down quite significantly from his graces last year where he was the prized first overall pick going into this year's draft. And now that Raty has kind of fallen off, we've seen Owen Power from the University of Michigan kind of shoot up the draft rank boards and now seems to be solidifying himself as the number 1 pick. That cannot be said for Aatu Raty. And maybe he goes to the Vancouver Canucks. Like I said, I think this is the theme of the Canucks draft picks. Guys that are projected to be number 3, top 3 draft picks, they fall in the draft and they fall into the laps of the Canucks. And Jim Benning says, this guy was projected to be a top overall pick. How do I not take this guy? But the problem is, there may be a reason why he fell. And if you're going off of what happened last season, that may hurt you in the long term. And we've seen Vasily Podkolzin. He hasn't come to the NHL yet. He's had some issues in the KHL. He's been playing in the VHL. He's had some issues over there. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they know Podkolzin will end up in Vancouver, so they're not really helping his development, not giving him a lot of minutes, because they know he's going to abandon the KHL anyway. But that's for another day. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Vancouver Canucks potentially selecting Vasily Podkolzin with the 12th overall pick? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like I said, a guy that looks really solid. He has the potential to be the next Kaapo Kakko-esque player. But will he live up to that potential? I guess only time will tell. But as of right now, he's projected to be a top 6 forward at best, and a guy that could hopefully add some scoring depth to an NHL franchise, and he could help do that with the Vancouver Canucks. That is my projection. Guys, let me know what you think down below, and if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.